Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Hello. Hello?
Hello. Is anyone there? Fucking hell.
There was, I just didn't put it through my headphones. I'm keeping that. Oh, mate. Oh, I'm going to laugh. Right. Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. I'm back with Daniel James. Dude, I need to work on my production with that. I need to get balloons and confetti.
The whole thing. To get real life balloons and confetti come down. That's what it needs to be. Like a balloon, like the guns that get fired off. It goes every confetti gun.
Just for you, and you can pull a little lever and it all comes out.
So that's what I want. Next time. That's what I like. Or
Anything
just a crowd of
for you,
people behind just clapping.
Just for that one moment.
Just like one
well.
moment, and they can leave.
Everyone goes.
Queuing around the back of the bus.
Mate, well, we've got a format and a formula for your podcast. What would you say our formula is for your podcast, for the Prime Life project?
You're just asking me some questions,
Yeah.
so like on a topic. So again, we can't be left to our own devices, it turns out. So Katie gives us a topic, and Katie gives us a set of questions. I don't know the questions beforehand, but you do. And basically, you read me the questions on this given topic. So it could be relationships or whatever is stress.
Got a good structure for that.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, yeah.
And then basically, you then ask my opinion, I then give it, and then you kind of chime in at the end about what you view on it and have that. And it's kind of reversed on this, isn't it? A bit?
Well, we've decided for this one, we're going to use this pack of cards that I found at an Airbnb. Well, not this actual pack. They sent me the pack. Me and Chrissy found sussed at an Airbnb. Then we started tagging them in stuff. And I did them on a couple of podcast episodes. And then they sent me loads of packs. So I think we've got about 5 or 6. But the green one was the emotional intelligence one. And it's the one that me and Chrissy sat with a Prosecco and we're in a hot tub. And honestly, when we got out of there, we were literally like prunes. We were in there for probably 5 or 6 hours. And we're just having this ridiculous conversation that I don't think we've ever had in a relationship before.
I think it's fantastic. Like, some of the questions that we've covered so far are really, really good.
They're ace, aren't they? Yeah.
Fantastic.
And boy, do we like thinking, mate.
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
we like
free thinking?
Divulging into our mentality.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
should we just, usually we have a bit of a chat,
Let's go straight into
see
it.
where you're up to.
Yeah, let's go straight into it.
But we're just going to go balls to the walls.
Give the audience what they want.
Who's come up balls to the wall is a great term, so sussed. Right, ready for the first?
Let's go.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a really good one to start.
It's all downhill from there.
I'm more likely to be confused by my own emotions, the feelings of people I care about, the opinions of the general public.
Ooh.
So most confused by
The views of the general public. 100%.
right.
I would have said it would have been my emotions, but I've got quite in tune with them.
Yeah.
The people closest to me is basically the two closest people in my life are you and Katie. And don't get me wrong, Katie confuses the hell out of me. And women in general confuse the hell out of me. But I think for any man and women, I think women, the opposite sex, always confuses it. But the general population, that confuses me. Like the group think really confuses me in how pliable and easily manipulated people are. Prime example with all the stuff that's gone on with Russell Brand recently. Without going into too much detail, because we don't know the facts, especially when this comes out. Right now, at this moment in time, there is zero facts. It's
I don't know what
opinion.
date we're on.
Yeah,
but...
well, the date right now is the 3rd of the 10th.
So we have zero facts.
We have zero facts. He's not been convicted of anything. It's all opinion. And basically we've had the whole thing with media, and then people have just literally just taken it. And I thought about it the other day. It's just, what facts do we have? Look at the actual facts. 100% facts. We don't have many. And rather than the media reporting the facts, they've reported opinion on what they think has happened. And
in the most heinous of
exactly.
ways.
And let's be completely honest, we are never going to know what happened because we were not there. We're never going to know the facts. And I think this whole trial by media thing,
yeah.
and this has happened over the last 3 years as well, people are very easily manipulated. They're told what to think, and people have lost the ability to critically think, meaning, what do I actually think of this? What are the facts?
We're desperate to be a part of a group.
Yes,
and
that's what confused me, because a lot of people go along with stuff which they know they don't necessarily agree with, but they won't stand up and voice their opinion because they want to fit in, they want to be liked. and I find that very confusing to me. It's like, but you know that this isn't right. You know that you must know in your soul that this is not right. This thing, whatever. I'm not talking about Russell Brand. I'm talking about just examples, and people just go along with it.
I'll just say this: I initially thought the same answer, but then, as I've sat with it, I've actually thought that doesn't confuse me. Because I feel it's so cleverly manipulated and constructed, and it's clearly this is for the media, and if we can divide and create segregation between people, this is what we can achieve. And I was so angry during COVID and all those times by the way people were in the BLM and everything like that, and it really perplexed me then. But recently, I've just decided to be more compassionate. And just be like, I get it, actually. You're all scared. You all want to have a pack, be in a team, have people rooting for you. So I genuinely feel less confused by that now and accept it. I'm like, okay. And I'm not a perfect human. I will at times slip and I'll be like, be in a team by accident, and I'll say something with hyperbole or why are you this? But then I try and quickly reclaim myself and get back to myself and go, Mikey, you don't need to be involved in that. Yep. And that's just how the whole mechanics of it is now.
Yeah. It's fair. I haven't thought. Again, you've got the beauty of listening to my answer. And thinking
yeah.
about yours.
No,
but now you've said that again. You're right, because it doesn't confuse me. I know exactly how it is, and it's so. It's
obvious in a way.
I mean, it's in the nice way possible. A lot of people are victims, and they don't realise they're victims. They're just told what to think, and they're a victim of this media. And again, the media just represents news. That's all they do. They don't present facts; they represent it. And like I said, and people are. I think I spoke about this on multiple episodes with yourself. There's so many people are struggling and feeling stuck.
Yeah.
And that is by design.
Yeah.
And people can't see that it's by design, and that if they just removed all the news in their life, social media, and just kind of went back to working on themselves, the family unit, and all that sort of stuff, and trusting their gut instinct on stuff, I think they'd be a lot better off. But the problem is people have been told what to think, and there's that confusion. Like they're not being congruent with what they know.
No.
Kids know the difference between right and wrong. Kids know that. As adults, we know the difference between right and wrong. The difference is, are you going to actually stand up for what you believe? And that's also then another question. Do people even know what they believe anymore? Do they know what their morals and values are? Because I feel like a lot of people's morals and values, their compass is kind of whacked off again by the media, by stuff like, because they're told their morals and values should be this, when deep down they're like, well, that doesn't really align with me. And again, that's a whole different podcast to go down. But so yeah, you're right. Actually, that doesn't confuse me. I'll take my answer back. My answer that confuses me the most is whatever the second one was, I think people closest to me.
The feelings, okay. So my own emotion, they're the two that is a box of snakes. Yeah. That's forever changing.
100%.
And my own emotions, I've been better at before, and I know I've got your space to do this too, but I had like a think tank and a place where I could honestly and authentically discuss where I'm at. But just recently I've been more in pilot mode, I suppose, or getting stuff done, not looking in so much or tuning into my emotions as much. And I've recognised that recently.
But then that means they don't confuse you. I mean, how you're feeling, it's not really confused you.
Yeah, true.
If you went and looked at it, you'd know, oh, I'm this.
Yeah,
so I don't think necessarily confused you. It probably annoys you more than anything, frustrates you that you haven't taken care of it.
I agree with that. But also because I've not looked at it for a while, I had a moment the other day where I was walking the dog, I was on my own, and I just checked in. I was like, I don't know how I am actually. I don't know where I'm at, because I've just not been doing it as a ritual where I was before, and I had the space for it. So then I forgot how to do it slightly. Yeah.
But so I love this. What I love about these cards, because then I've interpreted that question with the confusion. I wouldn't class that as confusion. You're just checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
You don't know. I think there's a difference between being confused and just not knowing. I bet once you checked in with yourself, you were very quickly able to know where you were at. So then you weren't confused by it. For me, it's like you're feeling a certain way and you don't know why. Yeah. That's how I've interpreted that question.
Yeah.
So for example, I come here and I'm like, I'm not acting myself. I'm feeling so. Why am I feeling that way? Or when I go to speak, I'm feeling. Why am I feeling this way? I get confused by it. Or when I don't know, I'm driving and I stop flipping the person off in front of me. Like, why am I feeling this way? That's the confusion of why am I acting and feeling this way? I don't think you get that. I think you kind of know. You just need to check in with yourself where you're at.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Does that make sense? So you just hadn't checked in. Once you did, I think it's quite easy for you. I imagine
it just needed a little bit more thought toward
awareness.
it. Awareness.
So I'd say the second one for me is the answer.
The feelings of people I care about. Yeah. I don't know why we feel the need to I always want to help them.
Yeah.
But also, Chris's thing at the minute, it's all the stuff in the media of AI and then Putin and all the possibilities, everything outside of the control. But just because we've got two brilliant kids and she's got so much love and wanting to spend all this time with them, but she's just terrified about what's going to come.
And that's literally the exact point of what it does.
Yeah.
That's it. To put you in a state of fear. Because when you're in a state of fear, are you going to want to really better yourself? Or are you just going to be on survival mode? When you're in survival mode, people are easier to control.
Yeah.
So again, prime example, COVID. I was afraid. When COVID first came out, I was afraid. When people are afraid, they're easy to control. And again, if you're looking, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there's loads of books that talk about this. If you want to control someone, get them in a state of fear.
Yeah.
The easiest way to control someone.
There was that Russian guy in the 1950s, and he does a talk and all about how the Soviet and different governments are going to find their way of not just manipulating and making sure they can control people. And mate, it was in the 50s he did this, but then he started talking about technologies coming through, and it's I'll send it you over because it's by the T. I can't Yuri something, but he explains it's called hypernormalization or something.
Yep.
It's crazy.
But that's the thing. It is a really scary concept. That, like I said, it's like how Chris is feeling, is how most people are feeling, which I said before. Like I said, people are feeling out of control. So basically, Chrissy feels out of control. Why? Because she's told to worry about all of these things outside of herself that she can't control. So people are trying to control the uncontrollables, which is why they're feeling a certain way of unease, because you can't control that stuff.
And my confusion's really there because that's one thing where I've decided for myself, and I get myself in that way, is like I'm tuning out. I'm either going to listen to it through a comedian because I know they're going to bring light to it and make me laugh and, mock it.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the way I want to handle it. But if you want to get tuned in because you want to be aware to it, but you're going to be crippled by fear to it, that's confusing me.
Yeah.
That's really confusing with me.
We got that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I agree with the second one. Yeah.
That took a good 15 minutes. We nailed that.
Answer.
Well played. So yours is the second one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Katie. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Let's go at random. Okay. Which would I rather have as my happy place? Anywhere, as long as I'm surrounded by friends and loved ones. Somewhere secluded that no one else knows about. Reliving a perfect memory.
Second one.
Happy place. Somewhere secluded that no one else knows about.
Yeah.
That really.
Yeah. So
desert island style stuff.
No, because again, so it's not to live. So again, the way I'm interpreting this question is to have as my happy place, meaning that I can go there and come back. So it's not a desert island. It's just a place I can go to as my happy place and then come back. So it's not saying that this is like a forever thing. I'm reading this as I can come and go as I please, for example. So my happy place could be, look, this is the first one about friends and family. It's like, my happy place is here on the farm, and because we know we have a big barbecue and all my mates come, whatever it is, or my house, and something like, is that my happy place? Not really, because there's too many other factors involved. There's too many other people. So for that to be my happy place, there's too many other variables at play that I can't control, because you can't control other people's emotions, moods, stuff like that. You never know what's going to kick off, like people falling out. So I wouldn't rely on that as my happy place. What was the third one?
Reliving a perfect memory.
So again, that's just a memory, so it's not reality. So
there's a Shrek the 3. Have you watched that one?
No.
It's actually a good Shrek.
I love Shrek. I love Shrek anyway.
Yeah, he goes to relive his perfect day.
Yeah.
It's that the whole film they've kind of nicked from this question.
Yeah,
because he learns a lot on the way.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, but again, this is what I teach in schools and stuff. Like, if you need to have that as your happy place initially, because you can't create the happiness. Because the reason why I picked number 2 is because your happy place should be you. You should be able to just go to a quiet, secluded place, be by yourself, and that be your happy place. Now, again, I understand that a lot of people, myself, I've been there, which is why I talk so openly about this, and sometimes I forget that people haven't necessarily been on this journey. But for me, like, being inside my own head was like walking through a bad neighbourhood. Like, it was not good, and I didn't want to walk down there by myself. Now, I can be anywhere, and I know that I'm going to be myself, and I know that's a happy place. So I'm more than happy to just sit there in a cave or wherever it is, and I can just close my eyes, I can just be in the moment, be present, mindful, and that can be my happy place. I can appreciate the little things. Again, the wind blowing, the leaves, the trees, the rocks, the stones, I can do that, and I do that when I'm on beaches and stuff. I just sit there and just chill. That's my happy place. But if you try and go back to your perfect thing, now you may need that initially to get that feeling whatever it is, but that's not reality. That is, you're going back to your happy place, and it may not have actually been as happy as you remember it. It's the story you've told yourself about this event.
Oh,
and you're
everything's
reliving
shitter when you go back to it.
Exactly.
Have you ever watched an old film that you've told everyone is the best thing you've ever thought of?
So for me, like, it's a no-brainer. It should be.
I wouldn't relive a perfect memory because that was perfect, so just let it be.
But sometimes it's nice. Like I said, it's nice to go back there, but I wouldn't have that as my happy. And this is the thing, keeping this question.
When you try and reenact it, it's so contrived.
Yeah, but when I said the happy place, so my happy place, I would not have that as my happy place. Do I sometimes look back at a happy memory? Absolutely, but that's not my happy place. Sometimes it's just nice to do. My happy place would be in a cave, in a bus, wherever it is. My office is my happy place. When I'm in my office by myself, that's my happy place.
I think mine is, mate, life changes when you've got kids. Yeah. That's just so, that's it. And yeah, Ella and Phoebe are, it's a weird love you end up having. And it surpasses my love for myself. And it's this beautiful, like, togetherness and this sense of protection where I'll do anything for you. So I think my happiest days I've ever had on this planet Earth is proper in the moment, outside of all the bullshit, all the stuff going on, and just seeing them develop. Mainly Ella, because obviously she's been further on the journey, and I've really seen her develop into a little human. Yep. But nothing's brought me more joy and pride and feeling than seeing that unfold.
And again, that's, for me, I'm very envious. Do you have that? I've not had that. The only thing I can think of that's close to that is when I taught Theo how to ride a bike. Katie's little lad. He's not mine, so I've got no, like, paternal bond with him. Yeah. But teaching him to ride a bike, that was one of the proudest moments of my life.
Really? Yeah. Oh, that's
genuinely one of the proudest. I said to Casey, one of the proudest moments of my life. Like, but he's not mine. Does that make sense? So I can imagine, like, you actually having those moments. Do you have moments like that? Not to say regularly, but you've had moments like that, and you will continue to have that. Yeah. So for me, knowing that you've got that. Jealous is the wrong word because it's not. I'm not jealous. It's like I get those two mixed up. Like, it's envious. I'm like, wow, like, that is beautiful, and I wish I had something like that. I'm so happy that you have that, and it's amazing.
It far surpasses anything I've ever been through. So
I get that.
Yeah, all used to be a me thing, and now it's a them thing.
Yeah,
so
I get that 100%. 100% get that.
Kids.
Yeah, great question that was again.
When would I feel most helpless? When breaking up a fight, when confronting an acquaintance, sorry, dyslexia is coming in strong now. So when confronting an acquaintance after losing my phone. So when breaking up a fight, when confronting an acquaintance after losing my phone, when would I feel most helpless? I'm fine with fight. I'm fine with conflict, and fighting's kind of been in my story, like boxing days and being at rough school.
I'm not a fighter, but I would feel comfortable breaking up a fight and just being like, lads, like, keeping a level head. Like, I think we're okay in that.
Do you have any? Because we're men and there's testosterone there. Do you have any enjoyment in them situations?
No, I hate fighting.
Do you hate it?
Unless it's controlled fighting, like boxing, UFC. I'm still not a fan. I don't follow it. But for me, it's like, cool. I've got no issue with that. But just lads fighting.
Yeah.
I've got no time for that.
And it only takes 1 second to finish a life.
Stupidity. Like, I don't like that podcast with John when he roundhouse kicked that guy.
Yeah.
So it's moments like that when. For me, it's just uncontrolled anger and unresolved issues when it's not in a controlled manner. Like boxing, when it's controlled, like properly done rules, regulations, I've got no problem with it. And again, I think it's really good for people. But when it's just you go and start fights, it's just low energy stuff. It's just, you're not okay. Like, just look at the bigger picture of why
I do worry at fights nowadays as well with weapons involved, though. You can be breaking it up. Yeah. And then suddenly find yourself...
Because, again, people are on the right frame of mind. Like, for example, to go back to that John episode, he turned around and went to smack a police officer.
Yeah.
And literally, do you know what I mean? All it took was him to have a knife, turn around and stab the police officer. And that's what you break up a fight, and actually someone turns around thinking that you're trying to hit them again, and you get stabbed or whatever it is, wrong place, wrong time. So again, it's very. I would tend to avoid breaking up a fight unless I knew the person that was there, and again, I wouldn't join in. So unless it depends on what the situation is. Like, if someone was actually trying to beat you up and there's a big thing, I would join in to help protect you. But I would rather try and break it up so it didn't escalate to that level. Does that make sense? But again...
You wouldn't feel helpless in that.
I wouldn't feel helpless. I just would be annoyed that I've been put in that situation.
When confronting I'm guessing confronting meaning...
happened.
Yeah, you need to resolve something.
Well, so I mean, you've had uncomfortable conversations, and they're never.
I'm more than an acquaintance.
Yeah, yeah. Good friend, but I think I'm going to take that as a friend. But even then, that's uncomfortable. But again, after you've had people work for you, you've had to fire them and stuff like that. They're always uncomfortable. Again, don't feel helpless in it, because again, for me, whenever you've got to confront someone, I've now come at it as, well, what's my outcome? What's the outcome I'm trying to get out of this conversation? I'm confronting you for a reason, so what is it? So I wouldn't feel helpless in that situation because I'm in control. This is the kind of question I want answering.
Yeah.
Why have you done this? Why has this happened?
Yeah, you're good at that. I've seen you in action in that.
Yeah. So
I'm very less good at that.
Yeah. Well, again, practice.
Definitely mine.
So I think the last one is potentially helps out my phone, but even then,
losing your phone.
Losing it. Yes, losing it as in like it's gone. If I've left it at home right now and on this bus, I wouldn't feel helpless.
No.
If I genuinely had lost it, all my photos backed up, to have people's contact details. Like
Mate,
all that
I'm
sort of
thinking
stuff.
you were running along the beach and it's just gone into the sea.
I will probably feel helpless.
Is it phone for you?
Only because it's like your business. That's it.
Yeah.
But the worst would be laptop. Laptop would be.
I was going to say I'd be fine with my laptop, but no, I don't know where that comes from. I think it's a childhood thing again, where I've been put in my position a lot. So when confronting. Again, it comes to that recall and knowing what to say and how to say it and execute it. I find really difficult. Yeah. It's a theme. But again, everything's just trial and error and working on it.
And it's this thing that I like about you. We're all flawed humans. I'm flawed. Like people seem to sometimes put me on a pedestal because of probably what I do. I'm a flawed human. I start all my speeches off, all my workshops that I do in front of hundreds of people. I am not perfect. I'm not here to preach because I'm not perfect, and I'm very well aware of that. The difference is you're aware of it. I'm aware of it. That's the difference. That's what I like about you. You know you're a flawed human, but you're aware.
Yeah.
You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and again, you're aware of it. And that's the thing for me is when people have got the awareness to know, listen, like I do have weaknesses. I'm a flawed human. Like I'm continually working to get better. That for me is what I value in you as well. And people around me, it's like they know they're not perfect. They know they work because that's the same as me. Like I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm flawed. But you're aware, like actually I don't do a confrontation, like the thing with acquaintances as well, like I don't deal with that. You know that, you're aware of that, and that's what I like. You've got the awareness to know, and you've asked me my advice on stuff like that before.
Yeah,
I think that's a great trait for people to know. Listen, I'm not comfortable with this. Can I ask for advice? I think it's a great thing to do. Like I've done it with you for workshops for a while now. Like, oh Michael, what do you think of this? Because I value your opinion, and you've given me some workshops to do with some kids before, like the activity, the drawing one. Like I think it's great to know that.
When you say your flaws. What do you know any off the top of your head?
Oh, bloody! I've got so many. I'm very what's the word? I can be very selfish, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. But there's a time to be selfish, there's a time not to be selfish. Oh God, you put me on the spot. I've got I.
There are a few that.
There's a few. Mine are very not. A lot of my flaws involve me moving my life forward and kind of pushing people away. Like, this is where I'm going. You're either jumping on board or you're not. Like, I'm very tunnel vision. I think that can be a little bit unhealthy at times.
I hear you.
Again, I'm not always the best at asking for help because I know that I've got the ability to do it myself.
Yeah.
But actually, I could do it quicker if I asked someone else for help, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't deal with feedback well initially. So, prime example this morning. Katie was worried about me coming here for no other reason than I said last week that my schedule was really busy. I've got loads of stuff to do at the minute. Like I've always got stuff on, always.
Yeah.
And I told Katie I was coming here to do the stuff for the kids tonight. Didn't mention about the podcast to her. So when I woke up this morning, within an hour of waking up, 30 minutes, I had a message you back and said, So I said to Katie, I'm going to Mikey's tonight to do a podcast. And then she was then like, but you said you were going to do this. So straight away for me, that felt like an attack.
I get you.
It wasn't an attack. She was basically trying to hold me to a standard. But in that initial moment, I didn't argue, but I was just very like standoffish of like, I've just woken up, like, let me give me some space. And then later on in the day, I then basically messaged saying, I spoke to in person about it, sorry. I spoke to in person, basically said like, I felt like you were attacking me. I know you weren't, but the reason was I've just woken up and you're asking me questions I don't have the answer to. I was like, it's my life, it's my schedule. And in my head, I knew what I was doing and why I was doing it because I've already removed my diary. But I was like, I value the fact that you are holding me to the standard that I set for myself.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Like, don't ever stop doing that. I was just like, I just sometimes, when people tell me stuff like that, I know I need to hear it. But in the moment, it can feel like I'm getting attacked. So I know I've got to process it
Yeah.
And when I do process it, I'll then always come round and say, thank you.
Yeah,
I've done
okay,
that a
yeah.
million times. I always do that. And she knows that as well. And she just knew that actually her delivery wasn't great because of the time of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
sometimes that can be a thing for me when someone's giving me the feedback, if I know it's beneficial.
Yeah.
Like when I first left the gym, someone I really value went for a walk with me and basically was like, I'm really worried about you. And she was very, very forward and almost attacking of me, challenging me, matter of fact, being like, are you making a mistake? Literally like the whole thing with Katie, this whole thing, she was literally and I was very, 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 very attacked. Like I didn't like how I was being spoken to, but everything was done with love. And I knew it was done with love. But you know, it's going to go back to childhood. I felt like I was being attacked. I don't like being spoken down to, but it's what I needed. So in the moment, I wasn't angry. I'd listened to everything they were saying, but I could just feel myself getting so enraged. And as soon as that person left, I just sat by myself and I was like, right, why am I getting so annoyed? And I realised because they were telling me the truth about certain stuff, or they were asking me difficult questions that I didn't want to have to answer. So I was like, right. I then answered the questions for myself, and I was like, wow, this person values me so much that they've actually gone out of their way to go for a walk with me, and challenge me, to my face,
and then make you have that uncomfortable conversation with yourself
100%.
After, which is the most important.
100%.
Yeah.
And everything she said, I didn't agree with everything, but I saw a lot of thought process, and basically it made me flip and be like, double check my thinking process of like, have I made the right decision? Have I acted in haste? Is this the right thing for me moving forward? And then when I look back, I was like, yep, 100% I made the right thing. And I was good with it. But I was like, I then said, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And she was like, I felt like you were whatever it was towards me. I went, no, I wasn't. But it's like, no one's ever had the balls to speak to me how you have. And this is a woman as well. Literally, and I was like, no one's ever had the bollocks to speak to me like that. But I needed it and I really liked it and I enjoyed it. I just didn't know how to deal with it. And I still to this day struggle with people, even though I love that. I would so much rather people give me that kind of feedback that makes me feel that way, because I know this is my own good. And the reason I'm feeling that way is for a reason. But at the time, you don't realise it. But now I do. So this morning when Katie said that, I knew what she was saying. It was the way I was feeling. I knew there's some truth in this. But I'd just been awake for 30 minutes and I wasn't ready to deal with that. And I was like, just don't do that to me. Just, do you know what I mean? Just text me in an hour. And that's for me, one of my biggest weaknesses is probably that, I'd say.
Well, mate, what pretty conscious.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, I want to get better, and I know that I'm never going to be perfect. But when I do mess up, I do reflect. I think we spoke about on the last podcast the last podcast me and you did, or maybe earlier on in this one, I can't remember. I speak so much now, I forget when things blow into one. But it's like the reflection, pain plus reflection. So whenever I have that pain, I always reflect.
Yeah.
Because that's how
there's
I make
truth within it.
100%.
There's something there.
And that's what I'm saying. So I know Katie probably be able to rattle off a million flaws that I've got, but for me, they're the ones I'm really conscious of.
Yeah.
But I'm always trying to work on it. I'm always trying to be a better version of me. I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm flawed. I know I make mistakes. I know I'm going to make loads more mistakes. But I like to think that every day my intentions are good. My intentions are good, and that's all I can do.
And if you think you're flawless, then you need to really think about
100%.
a few areas that you may be slipping in.
100%, yeah.
Just
But I think
them.
one of the biggest things for me is I can be quite selfish, and I'm very well aware of that. But
mate, piece of beauty.
Yeah.
So, next one?
Yep.
Amazing. Right. Which do I think is most true? Fear is life's only true opponent. Fears let you know that something is worth it. Nothing in life is to be feared, only to be understood.
I think the third one.
Ooh, yeah.
For me, a lot of time fear comes from ignorance. A lot of time for me, we're afraid of something because we don't really understand it, and that's why we're fearful about it. Because you can be afraid of something, but if you know it, you're not really, you're then more anxious about it, which is different emotion. So I'm trying to think of an example. If you told me to, let's say go into war, which is an example. Like I know nothing about war. I'm completely ignorant of wars. I'd be afraid. I'd be so afraid of that. So for me, actually, it's 'cause I'm ignorant to it. But the more I learned about it, I then wouldn't be afraid of it. I'm probably more scared. Not what do you mean? The difference between fear and scared. Like fear for me is like the different emotion there,
okay.
and then I'd be anxious about it, or angry, or sad, or do you mean not wanting to go? But I wouldn't necessarily fear it because I understood it. Does that make sense? And that's probably a bad example, but
I hear that. I think fear is a natural animalistic instinct.
Absolutely.
Kept us away from the saber-toothed tiger. And if nothing is to be feared, even understood, I mean, if I'm in water and there's a shark swim up to me and I'm not fearful, I may make a poor decision in that moment.
But if you knew how to deal with that before, so all that fear is ignorance to that situation. So if you know how to deal with that situation, if you knew that when a shark comes up to you, this is what you've got to do, you wouldn't be afraid. You go straight into this is what I've got to do. The only reason why you're fearful is because you've got no idea what to do and you fear dying because you don't know what to do in that situation. That doesn't mean you can always control the situation, like Steve Irwin died from the stingrays. I think normally fear is fear of the unknown. Like we don't know the outcome of the situation.
We could do bugger all with a shark, though, couldn't we?
You could put on your supposed like punch you in the nose or something. Like
I've heard that, but
I don't listen. Listen, if a shark comes up to me, that's what I'm going. If you're afraid, what are you going to do? Like you're going to die. Like if you're in that situation and you're afraid, you're going to die. Now, I think there's a difference between feeling anxious and but to fear. Again, and you probably put the definition of the word fear. But for me, it's that fight, flight, or freeze. I think most of the time people freeze because it's their ignorance. And but for me, it's like if you know what to do, I had this right, but it's right or wrong decision. Punch a shark in the nose.
I've heard if you repress fear, then that's where it turns to panic.
Yes.
So to feel fear and to really understand the fear, I think it can alleviate the panic, but it still exists to help you make a good choice in that situation. So
the definition here says, as a noun, an unpleasant emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. As a verb, to be afraid of someone or something as likely to be dangerous, painful, or harmful. So again, for me, an unpleasant emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm, like it's the threat of danger, pain, or harm. But again, if you understand the situation, you're not ignorant to it. You understand the danger, you understand the pain, or you understand the actual harm. So therefore, it's not as much of a threat. Does that make sense? You understand it. Like for example, that the people that go into the lion's den, the lion's cage to feed the lions, whatever. They are not afraid of that situation because they know the threat. They're very aware of it. Now they're going to feel different emotions, probably a bit of anxiety. They've always got to be on edge, but they're not afraid of it because they're not ignorant to that situation. But if you put me in that situation, I'd be afraid of. I'd be hell no, because I don't know what to do. Yeah. And again, it's all different contexts as well because there's different levels of it.
And it's the semantics.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm talking very generally here. Yeah. But for me, I think most people in life, we're talking about life, not these extreme situations. Most people are afraid of stuff because they're ignorant to it and they don't understand it. Like, for example, different cultures, different races, they're afraid of whatever it is because they're ignorant to it. They don't understand. But again, different things like sharks and stuff, I get it's probably different. That my thing of being ignorant probably doesn't play into that, but I think it kind of does a little bit. But for me, most people are in fear of stuff because they're ignorant to it and they don't know. But if they'd learned more about it, had more information about it, they wouldn't have the threat of danger, pain, or harm. Does that make sense?
I'm going to go through them again. I think I've found mine. So, fear is life's only true opponent. Fears let you know that something is worth it. Nothing in life is to be feared. Nothing, only to be understood. But for me, what I really like on how it sounds is fear is life's only true opponent. Because the second one, fears let you know that something is worth it. I think sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Agreed.
There's many situations.
That's a great quote. I use that you give me. That's a really good one.
That just brilliant. You don't need to get in there. Even when people go thrill seeking and they're jumping off of buildings or they're going into shark cages, maybe for that moment for them, but it doesn't tickle my fancy any of that. And I just could, one wrong move, which I've seen in many videos, and you're out. So there's lots of moments where I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. But it kind of ties into again, listening back to it, that first one, again, I agree with. Yeah. It kind of ties into how I answered the part about the third one.
Yeah,
that is your opponent because it will make you not do anything. You will just sit there, but it's normally because you're ignorant to it and you don't understand. You're just like, I'm afraid, I'm not going to do anything. Where if you learned more about it, it wouldn't be an obstacle for you.
But that's the thing I like with the first one's the tussle. I was in the boxing world. I loved having an opponent. I loved knowing that I got someone to face. Yeah. And I was fearful about that, but I got to control how the best I brought myself to that situation. So also with an opponent, you can choose not to get in the ring at times. You can choose not to face that thing. And that's absolutely fine too. So I like the idea of it being an opponent because you can battle it, you can look at its flaws, you can decide to conquer it.
Yeah, by getting information.
Yeah.
Again, let's use the boxing analogy. If you have got a guy that is twice your size, twice your weight, got bigger reach than you. David and Goliath kind of situation. You're going to be very, very fearful in that situation. However, if you because you're ignorant to him, you know nothing, or you're just seeing the size. But actually, if you did your research into him and realise that actually he's slow as hell, and he's got a really weak left side, whatever it is, you have then got the information, so you're then not afraid. Yeah, you look big and scary, but actually I know how to beat you. Does that make sense? And that's how I see fear, which is why I kind of linked it into the other one.
A and C are really interesting.
And honestly, the people that create these cards are so good.
Mate, we're going to get them on the podcast one day.
The conversation is so, like, the differences, the nuances, they're so subtle.
Yeah, the nuances
they're so
are great.
subtle. Like, you could intertwine those, the A and C so easily or combine them. It's very, very well done.
I'm really trying to sit with nothing in life is to be feared, only understood. I'm very close to that.
It's the word nothing as well, because some things are to be feared, but again, why are you fearful of it?
Yeah.
So you then have to understand it. Well, why are you fearful of it? Because then once you understand that, it then gives you the power back. Whereas a lot of people, they don't. They just sit in the fear. But actually, if you understand it, the fear kind of loses its power a bit. Because most people are so ignorant to the fact that they're afraid or why they're afraid, they just sit in that fear. But actually, if you understand it, it just loosens its grip. And again, I then don't believe it becomes fear. It becomes another emotion, which I can't think off the top of my head. But I think if you understand it a bit more, most people are afraid because they really don't know. Like that boxer, it's a David and Goliath.
Yeah.
And they're just looking at the Goliath and thinking, oh my God, where actually, if you have more information, you realise, no, he's got a really weak left side. Or let's say in UFC, his knees are super weak. He's broken his left shin before. You've got all these little things.
But that's good examples too, because still, you've got to put that into practice. So that's why you're facing the opponent.
Yeah.
You can't just, I don't fear that. There's nothing to, you've still got to win. You've still got to battle it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that's you in the equation.
And again, because the definition of fear, though, it's then, again, emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. If you're a fighter, deliberately going into that situation, I don't think you'd be fearful. If you had all the information, I don't think you'd be fearful. I think it'd be another. I'm not good with what other emotion it'd be. I don't think it'd be fear, because you wouldn't fear the threat of danger, pain, or harm in that situation if you knew how to beat that opponent. I'm not a fighter, but I imagine it wouldn't be fear that you faced. It would be more anxiety, maybe, or there'd be something else. The uncertainty would make you. I don't think it'd be fear if you knew, right, I've got this monster in front of me, but I know his weaknesses. I don't think you'd then be afraid of the danger or the harm or the pain. There'd be another emotion. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is.
This is where would only, if we do disagree, it was being semantics.
Yeah.
Because then for me, somebody rocking up with Mike Tyson in his prime, with the face he's got and this, there'd be so much uncertainty. But if they really looked at everything in his game plan, I think you could be walking in there with the uncertainty, and that could cause fear.
Yeah.
But you've got all this plan of what you're going to do.
Oh, what's that phrase? From Mike Tyson, everyone's got a plan until they get hit.
Yeah.
Was that him that said that? Was it Ali?
That was Ali.
Yeah,
that was Ali. Yeah.
So again, again, that's a great point, because you can have a game plan, but you're still going to get hit. But as a boxer or a fighter, you know that you're going to get hit.
The phrase, and I'll remember that phrase, fear is life's only true opponent. There's something in that I think it's got a beautiful imagery, and I think you're still in the equation. You've got to always confront it and be working against it, but knowing it's an opponent.
Yeah. You've done it again where you kind of...
The latter can give you a bit of sense of false security, or... The other, sorry, not the latter.
Yeah.
Right. Let's have a look at one last one.
One last one.
And then we've got to go and inspire some young minds.
My brain, these fry my brain.
Dude, I'm gonna have a nap.
Yeah, it's good to do that.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Right. Which do I feel most often? This is funny. Nerviated. So that's a mixture of nervous and excited.
Okay.
Hangry, hungry and angry. Sleepergy. Sleepy but full of energy. Oh, interesting. Nerviated, nervous and excited. Hangry, hungry and angry. Sleepergy. I love saying it. Sleepy but full of energy. Have I ever been sleepy but full of energy?
Yeah, pretty much
Have
every day
you?
of my life.
Really?
So I have coffee because I'm sleepy and then I have a coffee. Like right now, that's how I say I'm feeling because
maybe,
I've trained this morning. Didn't particularly sleep well last night, so I'm full of energy because I've had the coffee.
But you could nap.
100%. If you said to me, Dan, take a nap, I would nap right now. So I would say that is me most days. Yeah, I'm also hungry as well because I'm also very well aware that I've not eaten, so I've got my food in the bag next to us. So
Can you pronounce that? C.
Again, you're asking another person with dyslexia.
Yeah,
so
man.
Sleep. Yeah, it's like energy. Sleepergy. Yeah, sleepergy. Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
I have been eating either 1 or 2 meals a day, and now I'm enjoying that. It's just something that works with me. So the hungry angry, I think I've done that for a month or so now, maybe a bit longer, and my hunger pangs or whatever they're called, they've gone. I don't feel that anymore, and I just look forward to later on in the day when I can eat. I'm going to the gym now because of your wonderful new workout that you give me. So I dog walk, fasted, go to the gym, and then usually after the gym I have a refeed then, and then I'll do my day and then have a feed at night. So I used to. Do you know when I was eating all the time for me, I'd have tired patches where I'd eat and then want to sleep after it and stuff like that. So that's just one for me where I used to feel hungry and angry.
Yeah.
But I don't go through that anymore. Nervous and excited.
Yeah, I don't really get that.
Context.
Yeah.
Going to a school.
Yeah, 100%. Public speaking,
Yeah.
100%. That is exactly how I would describe I am. But that's very rare.
And then sleep. Yeah, mate, I'm with you all the way. And okay, good question for you, Mr. PT.
Former PT.
What's your thoughts for sleep? Because I would like to alleviate that through my day. I don't want to be so tired at a certain time.
Mate, you got a young kid. You just have to deal with it.
Really?
Mate, there's nothing you can do. You can have the best sleep plan in the world, but you've got a young kid, you're going to get woken up. There's nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
Until they're both sleeping through the night, it's just one of those things where all you can do is just plan as best you possibly can.
That's fair.
But you can have the best plan in the world. What's going to happen? You get more annoyed.
Even if you're nailing your nutrition, if you're nailing
the baby's going to wake up and cry.
Yeah,
that's going to disturb your sleep.
That's real.
And it's like, and that's the thing. That's the reality of the situation. And if you've got this perfect game plan, and then she wakes up crying, you'll get more pissed off.
You're a big advocate of naps, though, aren't you?
I love naps.
Did you learn that anywhere on a podcast or in a book? That you found that was a good thing that they suggested?
Ages ago, I was talking to like a CEO person. So I wasn't, go back to the conversation about like online mentors. I was listening to a podcast. You're talking now about 6-7 years ago. I can't remember what the guy's name was. Massive CEO of a massive corporation company in like top 100 company in the US. And he's talking about how he takes a nap every lunchtime, and he had done his entire career. If basically he couldn't, he'd go to the toilet cubicle and just close his eyes and nap, or go to his car. Even just a 10, 15, 20-minute nap. He says the more he's got into his career, people do that as well, and basically just turn off. And again, there's science that proves it. Just take the edge off, and he can go and attack the day. And I'm like, well, if it's good enough for him, then I'll do that. So that's basically what I've done. I don't always take naps, but if I notice, like right now, with my day being so busy, because I'm off to Amsterdam at the weekend, like before I came here, I would have taken a nap to be more energized to come and deliver this podcast. However, that's not how the day's worked. I've had a coffee instead. So I would always prefer to have a nap. That'll always be my go-to to take a nap. However, not always possible. So,
how many situations have you been confronting and then had the nap and then the answer prevails?
Oh, quite regularly. And that's the thing where sometimes that whole hustle culture say, got to keep working. And sometimes for me, I don't. I'm literally trying to flog a dead horse. I'm so tired, and mentally, even with a coffee, and this is how I know I'm tired. If I've had a coffee and I can just nap, sometimes my brain just is not. There's something there that's clogging me. Take a 15-minute nap, and even if I'm not napping because the coffee and the caffeine's in my system, just turning my eyes, close my eyes, and almost like get into a meditative state. Not meditating, just close my eyes and just, do you know what I mean? Kind of not asleep, but kind of are asleep. That. And I wake up, I feel so refreshed, I can go and smash out what I've done. I'm good for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And that's the thing for me, just takes the edge off, where we all know it's like, you're like really going to doze off, takes the edge off, and I can crack on what I was doing.
So we're both asleep one.
Yeah.
So sleep urges.
Yep.
With those guys. Mate, let's keep doing these.
Yeah, mate, I love them.
I really enjoy it. Thank you,
really
Sus.
great
You're
guys.
great guys,
Yeah.
very, very intelligent people.
Guys and girls, I bet. Guys and girls.
Yeah, I help me with that because I use it as a collective term.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, guys. Yeah.
I just say guys for everyone, but I don't think it's.
Kate was a hockey
good.
game of the weekend, playing
Hey,
a hockey
guys.
game, and they basically shouted "man on," just a women's team, and they shouted "man on," and I was on the touchline and went, "Why is it man on? Why not woman on?" And basically the person said, "Well, it's quicker to say man on."
It is, yeah, man on.
I was like, okay. So sometimes it's a collective term. So no one there was getting offended. Bear in mind, again, lesbians there, all sorts. No one was offended that both teams were saying man on. No one was offended by it. So there, when we say guys, I don't think it's, oh, what do you mean? There's women there as well. I think it's a collective, like, as in, you guys, you group of people at SUST, great job.
But I remember saying it one day and I thought, there's got to be something better.
People?
Thanks, people.
Yeah, but
I'm going to keep saying different ones because I just thought, as a
Guys.
poet, I like words, and I'm not trying to do it to adhere to people. I just felt it's a bit of a clunky, not well thought out one.
Your mission by the time, because I'm not seeing you for a week, the time I next see you is you've got to come up with a better word that we can use.
Better collective term. Yeah. The one recently I have to think about more. We had a big discussion when I was giving a talk in London recently, and I got out of my car and said, "Hey, lovely." She was not happy.
Why?
Mate, I suppose because I'm putting her. This was her logic. Like, you speak to women in this way, you speak to men in this way, and she really let me have it. She did not like the term lovely. In my colloquial term, where we're from.
What did she say though?
She said, "Don't call me that."
Did you ask
and
why?
I said, "Oh, sorry. Yeah, no offense. How come?" And she said, "It's a really derogatory and misogynistic term, and I don't appreciate it."
Just because it's let's go down a rabbit hole. But for me, it's like with all the stuff that's going on now, like no, like I'm going to talk how I talk.
I was going to go, and guys, you let us know what you think in the comments below.
But the thing is, like, for me, if that offends you, I feel like you've got to ask yourself, why does that offend you?
Yeah.
It's like when I'm on a podcast and someone calls me James.
Yeah.
I don't go, my name's Daniel. Blah. Do you mean?
No,
why?
someone that would.
But why? The thing is, like, why?
Yeah.
Like, oh, my name's Daniel.
Yeah,
oh, sorry, I didn't
yeah.
realise. Cool. Don't go. They didn't know. They generally meant you.
Mate, don't.
I'm
you
lost for
worry
words,
about
mate.
it.
I'm lost for words.
I'm-
I'm lost for words, man. That's where we're at now. Where
Don't get
people are
worried for me,
complaining
man.
to someone who's happily greeted you by saying
Yeah.
"hello, lovely,"
I know.
and you are offended by that. You should have said "hello, mate," and see what she said. She got offended by that.
What, mate?
Just don't talk to her.
No, I tried not to afterwards.
Listen, I'm gonna get in trouble on stuff like this, and it just frustrates me.
Right,
Anyway, wrap up,
mate.
Mikey.
Yeah,
Wrap it up, mate. Just wrap it up.
right, dude. Come on, you know the drill.
If you want to find out more, ask me questions, tell me how to say lovely in a non-offensive way. Instagram, The Prime Life Project. Feel free to drop me a message, hopefully for something positive. And again, if you want to hear the podcast that Mikey's heavily involved in as well, it's The Prime Life Project on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and YouTube.
All right then, people, listen in now. I'm going to leave you on this. Always do, always will. Just be nice to one another. Just like that woman should have been
There you
nice
go,
to me.
that's
Be
it.
nice to one another.
Yes.
You beautiful set of buggers. Have a good day. You bunch of lovelies.